Probate can be expensive and time-consuming, and the process is often adversarial, with family members fighting over assets. There's no guarantee the will shall be followed exactly as written, and probate can be tie up assets for months or even years. If there are any disputes, the court will have to settle them, and in the end, the estate may not be distributed according to the wishes of the one that's passed away. For all these reasons, probate is a bad idea. Probate is the legal process of settling an estate after someone dies. The probate court appoints a personal representative to gather the deceased person's assets, pay debts and taxes, and distribute the remaining property. The entire process can be quite expensive and time-consuming, often taking 6 months or more to complete. If the deceased left a will, the probate process may be relatively straightforward. However, if there is no will or the will is contested, the process can be much more complicated. In addition, going through probate can be emotionally straining and difficult for family members already going through a hard time. The probate process is often adversarial, with members of the family fighting over assets. The probate process is designed to settle an estate and distribute assets after someone dies. However, the process is often adversarial. This can be especially difficult when there is no will or the will is unclear. In these cases, the court may have to step in and make decisions on how to divide the assets. This can lead to bitter arguments and hard feelings which can last long after the probate process is done. If you are dealing with the death of a loved one, it is important to be prepared for the possibility of conflict. Try to have open communication with your family members and be willing to compromise if necessary. With some patience and understanding, you can help to ensure the probate process goes as smoothly as possible. There's no guarantee that the will shall be followed exactly as written. When writing a will, it is important to be as clear and concise as possible. However, there's no guarantee that your wishes will be followed to the letter. In some cases, relatives may interpret the will differently than intended, or assets may be divided up in a way that isn't fair. In other cases, the executor of the will may not have the ability to follow through on your wishes. For example, if you leave your house to your child but the mortgage is still unpaid, the bank can still foreclose the property. As a result, it's important to discuss your will with a lawyer or financial advisor to ensure that your wishes are carried out as much as possible. Probate can tie up assets for months to years. After a loved one passes away, their assets must go through the probate process before they can be distributed to the heirs. Probate is a legal process that involves inventorying the person's assets, paying debts and taxes, and then distributing what's left. Unfortunately, probate can be lengthy and complicated, often taking months to years. This can be frustrating for the heirs who are eager to receive their inheritance, but it's important to remember that probate is an essential step in ensuring that all of the person's debts are paid and their assets are distributed according to their wishes. If there are any probate issues or disputes, the court will have to settle them. When someone dies, their estate typically does go through probate. Probate is the legal process of settling the estate. However, if a dispute does arise, it's important to have an experienced attorney on your side. In the end, the probate estate may not be distributed according to the wishes of the person. Probate can be long and complicated, and it's not always possible to predict how it will turn out. There are many factors that can influence the outcome, including the size and complexity of the estate, the wishes of the deceased, and the laws of probate. Occasionally, the person's estate wishes are not followed, and this can happen if there are disputes among the heirs or if the estate is unable to meet all of the debts and expenses. In other cases, probate may take longer than expected, resulting in delays in distribution. Whatever the outcome, it's important to remember probate is not always simple or straightforward. All of this makes probate a bad idea. If you want to avoid probate, you should plan ahead and take steps to avoid probate. Should you become the executor of an estate,